Imagine standing on a pristine plot of sand in the heart of the Dubai Marina, surrounded by the world's most ambitious skyline, holding a set of blueprints that you believe will change your life forever. For architect Paolo, a visionary designer from Manila, this wasn't just a dream. It was a $10 million reality that turned into a professional nightmare overnight. He had spent months crafting a masterpiece that blended the soul of Filipino architecture with the luxury of the Middle East, only to have it tossed aside by the Dubai Municipality in less than 10 minutes. This is not just a story about a rejected drawing. It is a high-stakes investigation into how a brilliant Filipino design became a $10 million mistake. In the world of Dubai real estate, where time is literally gold, a single technical oversight can bankrupt a firm and ruin a reputation. Today, we peel back the layers of his architectural disaster to understand why one of the Philippines' brightest minds saw his desert dream crumble into the sand, and what it really takes to build in the city of gold. The catastrophe began not with a lack of talent, but with a fundamental clash of building DNA. Paolo was a legend in Makati, known for designing resilient, tropical structures that could sway with the rhythm of a magnitude 8.0 earthquake and breathe through the suffocating humidity of a Manila summer. When he was commissioned by an Emirati billionaire to design a luxury wellness tower, he brought his entire Manila-based team to the UAE, convinced that their experience with the Pacific Ring of Fire made them superior to any local consultant. However, Dubai doesn't care about the Pacific Ring of Fire. It cares about the Dubai Municipality circulars. The team arrived with a Manila mindset, assuming that engineering principles are universal. They failed to realize that while the Philippines is a vertical battle against water and wind, Dubai is a horizontal battle against salt, heat, and extreme chemical corrosion. This arrogance was the first step toward a financial abyss that would eventually swallow $10 million in investor capital. The first major blow came during the structural review of the foundation, where the Filipino team's expertise actually became their greatest liability. In the Philippines, heavy reinforcement and massive concrete footings are the gold standard for safety to combat seismic volatility. Paolo's blueprints featured a foundation so thick and steel-heavy that it could have supported a mountain. But when the Dubai Municipality engineers looked at the plans, they didn't see safety. Ivy saw unjustified waste. Dubai has strict laws against over-designing, as it unnecessarily inflates construction costs and wastes the nation's resources. The rejection letter was brutal, stating that the design violated the city's sustainability and cost-efficiency mandates. By the time the team realized that safe in Manila meant illegal in Dubai, 3 months had passed, and the developer was already paying millions in interest on land loans. The project was hemorrhaging cash before a single shovel had touched the ground. As the team scrambled to slim down the structure, they hit a second, more invisible wall, the sulfate trap. Coming from the volcanic soil of Luzon, the engineers were used to high-quality aggregate and relatively stable ground chemistry. They specified standard grade 40 concrete for the substructure, a choice that would have been perfect for a skyscraper in Bonifacio Global City. However, the groundwater in Dubai is a saline cocktail that is significantly more corrosive than seawater. Without the specific use of sulfate-resisting cement, SRC, and a multi-layered bituminous membrane waterproofing system, the building's foundation would have literally turned to mush within a decade. The Dubai reviewers flagged this immediately, citing a failure to adhere to the UAE Soil Conditions Report. Because the Filipino team hadn't conducted a local chemical analysis of the sand, the entire underground parking and foundation design had to be scrapped and redrawn from scratch, adding another $1.5 million in redesign fees and site preparation delays. The Wellness Tower was intended to be an eco-friendly marvel, featuring wide-open balconies and natural cross-ventilation, inspired by the traditional Bahay Kubo. In the tropical breezes of the Philippines, this is a masterstroke of sustainable design. In the 50-degree Celsius heat of a Dubai August, it is a death sentence for the building's mechanical systems. Paolo's team had designed the glass facades with standard thermal breaks used in Southeast Asia, failing to account for the extreme solar heat gain coefficient required by the Dubai Green Building Regulations (LSAFAT). When the MEP, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineers calculated the cooling load, They realized the air conditioning units required to cool the open design would take up 3 entire floors of the building. The design was rejected because it was physically impossible to keep the building cool without violating the city's energy consumption limits. The tropical masterpiece was, in reality, a glass oven that would have cost a fortune to operate. The financial coup de grace came from a simple matter of professional licensure and the consultant of record law. In the Philippines, a licensed civil engineer can sign off on many structural aspects that, in Dubai, are strictly reserved for specialized, A-grade consultants registered with the Society of Engineers. Paolo's team had been stamping their own drawings in Manila, assuming their international prestige would carry weight. However, Dubai law requires every sheet of a blueprint to be stamped by a local firm that carries professional indemnity insurance, specifically within the UAE. When the developer found out that Paolo's firm wasn't actually municipality approved to submit the final drawings, he was forced to hire a local bridge consultant. This local firm, realizing the developer was in a corner, charged a massive emergency fee to take over the project. This oversight alone cost the project $2 million in additional consultancy fees and created a legal gridlock that lasted half a year. By the time the project reached the 9-month mark, the carrying costs, the money spent on holding the land without building, had reached the $5 million mark. Meanwhile, the price of structural steel had spiked globally by 20%. Because the Filipino blueprints were still stuck in the correction phase, the developer couldn't lock in material prices with contractors. What started as a $100 million project was now projected to cost $115 million, all because of delays caused by the rejected designs. The investors, sensing a sinking ship, began to pull their funding. The wellness tower was no longer a symbol of luxury, it was a toxic asset. The developer, facing bankruptcy, eventually sold the land at a loss and sued Paolo's firm for professional negligence. The $10 million mistake wasn't just a number on a spreadsheet, it was the total sum of wasted time, legal fees, lost interest, and the devastating blow to the developer's credit.
Today, the plot of land where the wellness tower was supposed to stand is occupied by a different building, designed by a firm that spent 2 years studying Dubai's soil before they even drew a single line. Paolo returned to Manila, his reputation tarnished in the Gulf, but his spirit wiser. He now spends his time mentoring young engineers on the importance of global standards, local compliance. He tells them that the $10 million mistake was his greatest teacher, proving that even the most beautiful blueprint is worthless if it cannot survive the scrutiny of a government inspector. The story of the failed Filipino design is now a case study in many Manila universities, a cautionary tale about the dangers of professional hubris. It reminds us that in the city of the future, the most innovative designs are the ones that respect the laws of the present.